This is Terry McGurrin, the voice of Don from the Redonkulous Race. I'm very special. And you're listening to Du Bois Podcast.
What are you doing?
When a dude's really into a chick, they give off these vibes that you can, smell. I think they're called pheromone.
That's the freakiest thing I've ever heard, dude.
It's true. Dude, you stink.
This is Toronto, the capital of North America, birthplace of funk, where the albino panther roams free. Beneath my manly-sized 13 brogues, 18 teams are arriving at this historic train station ready to embark on a race around the world. I'm your host, Don, and this is the Redonkulous Race.
Looking good, Snoopy!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Voice Podcast. My guest today is a voice actor, writer, comedian, actor, casting director, story editor, and producer. You may have heard his voice as Jonesy Garcia in 16, Stinky in Detentionaire, Don in The Redonkulous Race, Snoopy since 2019, and many more. So welcome the legend himself, Mr. Terry McGurrin. Welcome, Terry.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on, Terry.
I'd forgotten about Stinky.
It's cool. You've done so many cool roles, you know?
Yeah, that was a really fun show. I loved his background story that he dropped out of clown school. I thought that was pretty fun. That was really fun writers on that show. Yeah.
Awesome. And then it's crazy, for example, a lot of people who are from Total Drama were on Detentionaire, wow, sorry. Like Brian Froud, Zachary Bennett. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So Terry, what have you been up to? How are you doing, Terry?
Good. Yeah. We're just I'm right now reviewing the outline for episode what episode is it? 24 of Total Drama Island. So we're almost through the writing. I should be finished the writing probably by February. All the writing will be complete.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm sorry. I'm so excited to see.
So am I. I just want to tell you everything, but I can't because I'll lose my job.
You're fired.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, kids, we can't eat. I had to tell Joe everything. Yeah.
You're fine. I understand because that happens with the new projects for people. I understand that, Terry. You're good. I understand. You know,
yeah.
But when you're able,
exciting for us too. You know, I know the fans are excited to see it, but we're so excited to oh, wait till you get this and this part, and oh my God, everyone in the writing room is freaking out. So we can't wait. Yeah.
Are you able to tell me? Are you anything you voice? Are you a voice actor in the season?
No. I wouldn't be able to tell you if I was, but yeah, no. No, I can't tell you. How about that?
That's good. Because you're oh my, you're so talented. You write, you're a comedian, you're a voice actor. Oh my God, Terry, you're amazing.
It's been a road for sure. Yeah. I feel very blessed. I feel quite lucky in the way things played out.
I like that. And by the way, before I ask my next question, I was telling my friend Scott McCord, by the way.
Yeah.
He told me to say hello and he sends his love, by the way, because I told him I was interviewing you today. So.
I've had a gift for him. He's been in New York. He's living in New York now, so I haven't seen him. And every time he comes into town to record, I just miss him. And I've had a gift for him for so long. I'll show it to you. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Everything. I don't know if you heard that. I just dropped a bunch of stuff.
Is that?
I had this made.
That's so cool.
I had made for Scott. I gave one to Jennifer Perch because she's one of the creators of the show, and Owen has always been her favorite character. Yeah. So I got two of them made, one for Jen Perch and the other one for Scott.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I keep meaning to bump into him and give it to him because, what a fun thing to have. It's Canadian cartoons. We don't get a lot of toys and dolls and stuff made. So yeah,
They should make that though for you guys. That is so cool, Terry. I'm sorry, that's so
it's
cool.
pretty fun. Yeah, it's a fun little. I thought about getting the whole cast made, but it wasn't cheap. So
That's he's really nice too. Like he kept telling me, Joe, you're having a fun time with Terry. He's a funny, nice guy. Make sure, please tell him I say hello and I send my love to him. So.
oh, good. Yeah, I'll shoot him a message as well. He's yeah, I miss seeing Scott. Yeah.
What made you want to become a voice actor, writer, and comedian? Who would you say is your biggest inspiration for all of us?
I think I guess I mean I always just wanted to be a comedian. That was my whole thing. I thought I'm just gonna go around the world making people laugh. That was gonna be my life. And then I got Tom and Jen to come out and see me do stand up. We had recorded the first season of 16, and I was featuring at a club downtown in Toronto. And I said, hey, come out and see me do some stand up. And after the show, they were like, did you write all of that? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, do you want to write an episode? And so when I talk about feeling, lucky in having this career, there was a huge amount of luck to it. I fell into that. Like, I was like, sure, I've never written an episode of a show before, and so I think I wrote a Ding from Down Under, the one where Jude answers the phone and it's a girl from New Zealand. And
I think that's Katie Bergen. Is that Katie Bergen's voice?
No. The girl from New Zealand is Jennifer. Oh my God, Jen Robertson, who also played Caitlyn's evil friend, the one that they broke up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. It's hard to keep track of them. There were so many, but no, I remember Jen Robertson because I was working on another show with Jen Robertson at the time. And she had done her New Zealand accent, making fun of this New Zealand friend of ours. And I was like, that's pretty good. That's a good New Zealand accent. So then when we wrote that episode, I was like, I know who can play this part. Yeah. But anyway, so they offered me a writing gig and I kind of just jumped in with both feet and it really worked out in my favor. So yeah, and the voice acting gig, that was just, I got an agent, and 16 was really my first. I had done like some tertiary, secondary characters here and there, on Little Bear and For Better or For Worse and cartoons like that. 16 was like my first leading role kind of deal. So all the pieces came together in one, like, they saw me do stand-up, offered me the writing gig, I had the voice gig, and boom, off to the races. Yeah.
That's what you said. I think, weren't you Little Ick?
I was Baby Ick. Yeah.
I remember that. So, like I said, like by far, Terry, like you're like one of my favorite voice actor, like writers. Like, oh my God! So thank you, Terry.
Thanks. That's where I first met. Who played Little Bear? Oh my God.
Kristen Fairlie.
Names are falling out of my head.
Kristen Fairlie, who played Bridget in Total Drama.
Yes. So years later, I see Kristen Fairlie again working on Total Drama, but she was the first like big name I met voice acting, playing Ick. And I went into the room and I didn't know anyone. It was the first time working with Merle Ridley too, who I've become very close friends with. And I did this like this baby raccoon voice, and the guy was like, I guess we're gonna have to pitch this or something because he's talking to me, and I was like, I don't know what that means, whatever. And I go into the booth and do the voice, and everyone was like, you're looking through the window and you can see like the director and producers and the engineer. And so if this was them working and chatting, and then I started doing the voice and I see all the heads turn, like, how are you doing that tiny little baby voice? And then I walked out of the room, and Kristen, and I kind of was just embarrassed and went to like leave. I was like, okay, I guess I'm done. I can just walk out of here. And Kristen Fairlie was like, be professional, introduce yourself. And she was like a kid, she was quite young at the time. It was a fun day. Yeah. that was like my first voice gig in Toronto was Ick. Yeah.
And did you look up to any? Like, did you like have an inspiration for any?
No, I was so terrified. You know, even meeting Merlin Ridley and like the other actors, I was just like, and most of the other actors were kids, and I was just like, get me out of here. Yeah. So it was more, I'll take the money. I didn't know I was going to end up in this job as a career.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also, believe it or not, I interviewed people call him a comedian, like a Canada comedian legend. Do you know who Tommy Chung is?
Yes.
I interviewed him. I'd be curious.
He's so great, isn't he?
Yeah, he's sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. He's great.
Oh. Now, what would you say is your favorite voice acting role you portrayed? And can you do the voice of your favorite character?
Yeah, picking up. I don't know that I could pick a favorite because Jonesy, like, because it started everything for me. Like, you know, I don't know that I ever would have had a career in this industry had I not landed that part. So, but it's also pretty close to my own voice. Like, I tried to make him sound a little more generic American, I suppose. You know, but Jonesy kind of just talked like this, you know, it wasn't a real big difference, okay? You know, like, so it's pretty close to my own voice at the time, especially. I've certainly dropped as I've gotten older, but playing Scaredy Squirrel was pretty fun. Yeah, I enjoyed playing Scaredy Squirrel, and his voice is like way up there. I know for a fact I herniated myself at least twice during the 2 seasons of Scaredy Squirrel. And it's funny, I always tell actors who are beginning this, and I'm sure you had a question about that too. Like, but I tend to use a lot of body language in like the way I hold my body helps me lock into that character. And for Scaredy, I never bent my knees or elbows. So Scaredy was like a stick figure to me. So in the booth, it was always straight arms. I almost knocked over my own lamp. Like total straight arm acting. And it was always like, Dave, I told you not to wear my uniform. You know, like it's this panicky, tense character. And I held every muscle was like clenched doing that role. But he was still one of my favorites because I always felt like when I was in the Betty White territory of voice, that's when I felt like I was in my Scaredy element.
Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, can you do? It almost sounds like your voice, Don.
Oh, yeah. I suppose Don was just more authoritative. Like, really? That's how you're gonna play the game that way? Okay, let's move on. You know, like he was just a little more gravitas, is what they would always say to me in the booth. Can we get more gravitas?
And if you don't mind, can you do some Snoopy? It's almost.
Oh, Snoopy is a weird one because the way I record it is not the way it's played. When I first auditioned for Snoopy, I went in doing Snoopy's voice, and it was an accident. They had called me in for a different role. I think in the Snoopy in Space, they originally had this narrator, like this narrator character, and that's what I got called in for. And I was so excited to get an audition for like Snoopy in Space that I just started working on my Snoopy. And I showed up, and they were like, "Oh no, you're playing the narrator." And I was like, I haven't read the lines. I'm not prepared at all. And they said, "Well, do you want to leave the booth for 10 minutes? And look at the sides?" And I went, okay. And I was super disappointed. And then it was one of the execs that said, "Well, hang on a sec. If you worked on your Snoopy, let's hear it." And so I went in and I just did the, you know, and then all of us crying, you know, like all that kind of stuff and little dog noises. And they were like, "That's really close." So we worked on it for a little bit. I auditioned for that, I think almost 2 years before they cast the part. Like it was a long long process. But then the Schultz family came up to Canada and said, no, that's not how it's done. We record Snoopy really low and slow, and then we pitch it, which gives it that the sound of Snoopy is kind of strange. Like it sounds like someone's doing it naturally, but it also feels like, no, there's a mechanical element to it. And I think that's why they wanted me to. So now when I laugh like Snoopy in the booth, it's actually like, like it's these weird noises, and then they pitch it and it comes really close to what I could naturally do, but it has that not quite human element to it. So it sounds closer to Snoopy than I could get to. And that's how it was originally done.
Wow.
So they wanted it done the original way. So now that's all I do in the booth is these weird, it's so hard because you don't know what you've got until you speed it up. And then sometimes they're like, oh, we want it to sound like a question. And you're like, well, I know how to make something sound like a question in real time, but when I'm slowing, like to try and find what does the question mark sound like at the end of that? So it's a lot of trial and error, but it's fun.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so crazy. Like the process with it. Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, same thing with Woodstock, with Rob Tinkler playing Woodstock. All of the birds do the same thing, very slow and low, and then they pitch it. Yeah.
It's funny. I'm sorry. I've noticed you're wearing white like Snoopy. Sorry.
You're dressed as Don. I'm dressed as Snoopy. We're covered. We're almost completely covered. Yeah.
You got the Terry McGurrin party,
Yeah.
Oh. Can you walk me through the audition process? How did you land the role, get the role of Don? Let me ask you.
Well, I mean, Don, I was involved in like the development of that show as well, and the writing room. I think it was. Oh no, I guess it wasn't the first show, but it was the second show at Fresh that I was like an executive producer, like a producer on the show. So I was involved very early on. And when I'm in the room for a show, like even this reboot of Total Drama, when we're talking about the characters and what would this character say in this situation, I generally try and find that character's voice, what I think they would sound like anyway.
Okay.
So, you look at the drawings and you go like, okay, this guy's like all false bravado and he's got an ego, but he's also super fragile underneath. And so you know what the character is, you're writing dialogue for the character. And I always do a voice anyway in the room. And it usually makes the writers laugh and, we just goof around. So when we were doing Dawn and Jennifer Perch was in the room, she was like, "You're Dawn." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, You're Dawn. You have to play Dawn. That voice is perfect for the character. You're Dawn." And I still went through the audition process, of course, but it was like my role to lose at that point. So, but when it's not that, when I'm auditioning for a show that I'm not involved in the creative, I love having a drawing. Of course, being able to see what the character looks like is massive. A good character description really helps, and it's surprising how many productions don't supply that. Like if you're auditioning for a 5-year-old boy, and you're kind of like, okay, well, but do you want me to try and sound young, or do you not care about that? Like, because some shows the kids just have adult voices. So I'm like, what am I doing? Or am I playing him innocent as a kid? Like, there's all these elements that you try and latch on to. Yeah, I feel like a drawing helps, or if there's enough dialogue that gives you a really good sense of how that character treats other people and reacts to other people. That's finding that is really important to me.
That's really cool. Like now it's I feel weird because I always like to rewatch Total Drama 2 like because I grew up with it. Now it's I feel weird watching Ridiculous Race because I'm gonna be like, oh my god, it's Terry. You know?
It is. Yeah. It's Terry.
Yeah, it's the legend himself. So thank you.
The legend. Okay. All right. I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, favorite Total Drama character other than Don? Who's your favorite?
Well, I mean, Owen would have to be up there because he was just, you know, so fun to write. Such a, you know, you could do almost anything with him. He was so ridiculous. The only thing you couldn't do with Owen was be mean, because Owen just didn't have that in his character. He wasn't able to be mean to anyone. So, you know, so the flip side of that coin would be writing Heather, let's say, you know, where you got to use all the venom, you know, you wanted to. And in the later stages, I would say like Crimson and Ennui were really fun to write because we had never had a character like that before. We had never had that dark kind of character, you know, when they went to the episode, and I got to write it because I so wanted to, where they went to Transylvania, and you know, one of them had to get in the coffin and the other one had to drag it as part of the challenge and put it in the grave, and both of them just being like kids at Disneyland was so fun. So yeah, those characters that are the extremes, I love them. Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, isn't that Stacy DePass?
Yes, Crimson is Stacy DePass. Yes.
And then Carter Hayden, I think.
Yeah, which is so fun to think that Noah is also, you know, yeah.
See, if you, Terry, you understand Total Drama, like it's crazy. I'm crazy like that. I can name every single. I'm nuts. I'm sorry. You might think.
Oh, nice.
You know, okay, so I'm not really gonna like match. Okay, you know the 2 new seasons I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know the season that's coming out. Okay, what's one word you would use to describe the season? You able to say that?
Oh wow. Oh my. Joe, you knocked me out with that question. One word to describe that whole season?
Yes.
I'd say epic, because our challenge was, from Jennifer Perch, the challenge was, we want the challenges to be bigger. We want everything to be bigger and more painful and more, you know, like, so it was a real challenge to between the writing team and the animators would be like, this is way too much. Like, this is way too much for us to draw. And we'd be like, this is what we got to do, you know? So I would always be on the phone with the director, Keith, our animation director, Keith Oliver, who's amazing. And we would kind of go through it and he'd go, like, okay, can I change this to this? And can I do that instead of that? You know, and but yeah, epic, because it's crazy. Yeah.
Everybody, it's epic. That's all. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, sorry. Okay, this one, I'm curious for the new seasons. I actually printed out a photo of the new cast. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I
was so excited to see that get released. I didn't know it was going to happen.
Of all the characters, right? Which do you have a favorite this season?
I don't.
You
I don't. I really don't. And I think it's weird because when we were doing Pocket 2, I felt like Max was my favorite. Like, I felt like I was really gravitating towards Max to, like, prepare to evil, you know, like he was so weird and I'm eviling, leave me alone. But on this one, there's quite a few. I don't know. I have to wait and see the whole season together, and then maybe I'd be like, yeah, that one stands out a little more to me. But I think there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of, I think there's going to be, the fan base is going to be more divided on this season than on previous seasons. I really believe that.
Can I tell you who my favorite character is just based on like what we've seen?
I would love to know. Yes.
Okay. So I'm a big hockey fan. So this dude, the dude with the hat, I don't know if you see the dude.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's a hockey player because of the jersey.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a big hockey fan, so I had to choose him.
As am I. I've got a question for you. And someone else pointed this out on Twitter. I don't know if your brother mentioned this. Someone else flagged it, that there's a guy wearing an identical jersey.
Jersey right by the guy with the yellow hat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they're on the same team, or are they rivals?
So yeah, that's what someone clocked that on Twitter, was like, okay, these two know each other because they're wearing the same hockey jersey. And I was like, you guys are really good, like catching. Yeah.
It's this whole cast. Like I'm like looking at the photos. Like so, I can't. You understand? I can't wait. It's so crazy.
I'm just as excited as you are. I really am.
Did
who's your favorite team? Who's your hockey team?
Oh, okay. When I mentioned you, I'm gonna ask you, okay. So I'm gonna ask you favorite sports, and I'll tell you that one. I'll shock you. I'll tell you that much, Terry.
Boy. All right.
And before we go to the next question, sorry, Terry, I keep talking. I'm just so excited, about the new.
That's great, man. I'm. It's a holiday. I'm here.
Okay. Do you see the guy with the blue? This guy?
Yeah.
People keep saying he looks like Owen and Noah. I don't know if you noticed that.
Huh.
Oh,
I guess a little bit. I think his facial features are tighter together than those two, but yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. Like when this comes out, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna binge watch it like crazy. So
yeah.
And then it's cool too. Like I don't know if you probably know, but writing the show, it's cool that Chef. Like it looks like he got promoted. He's got like a new color.
Someone mentioned that on Twitter as well. I can already tell by Chef's outfit that he's been promoted to co-host. And I was like, I think I put a Sherlock, a BBC Sherlock Holmes kind of gif next to that one. I was like, you guys are doing your homework. Yeah.
Is there any hidden details you missed on the picture that you know?
I don't think anyone went out of their way to give hints in the photo. I think it's just the fan base for Total Drama Island is not a fan base that sits by patiently waiting. They're always like dig. So yeah, it's you guys doing the homework, and that's super cool. I love it. And yeah, I would say that Chef plays a bit of a more prominent role in this incarnation. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's Devin Mack because it's the Drama-rama. It looks like he's almost like, so it's probably Devin Mack, right?
Yeah, Devin Mack maintains his role. So he's, and man, I love Devin. He does such a fantastic job with Chef. Yeah.
Sorry to keep talking. Like I said, I'm just so excited. I'm sorry to.
No, you don't need to apologize. I'm super happy to be here. I don't get to talk about it with people outside of the production. So it's nice to have, someone who's just as excited as I am about, like, tell me everything. I'm like, I want to, like,
or I've been seeing too, a lot of people keep saying this is their favorite character, that girl. I don't know if you see it there.
Oh, really? Oh, wait, which one? Oh, her. Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of that. People keep I've been seeing that all over Twitter, Instagram. Like people are really getting a calling to her. I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of fan art for her already. I've seen. Yeah, it's very cool.
I'm excited when that comes out. Terry, I'll message you. I'll be like, Terry, amazing job.
Yeah, we'll do another interview, a post-mortem. Yeah.
Yes. We do the recap,
Yeah, and then you can be like, what did you really want to do in this scene? And did you change, what elimination order did you change halfway through the writing? Because that always happens. You get halfway through the writing and people are reading the scripts and they go like, this character, this storyline feels like it's running out of steam, whereas this other one where they're supposed to go home the next week, I love this character. I think there's way more to talk about with this character. They're way funnier than we thought they'd be. And you end up changing stuff as you go in the writing room. That happens a lot.
And you said I think you said in the beginning you're in 24 right now?
We're doing 26. Yeah, we're writing 24 right now. Yes.
So does that mean you're like in the top 3 now, I'm assuming? Or 4 or 5 probably now? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, that's the 2 new seasons talk. If anybody has any questions, he can't answer them, guys, because he's in trouble. I understand that. I understand.
Yeah. I'd like to keep my job. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be like, you're fired.
That's right. All I did was tell them the ending. What's the big deal?
You'd be like, Tom Holland. Did you know who Tom Holland is, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Did you know he accidentally revealed the title of the new Endgame movie, like when it was not even out? Like doing like a live stream, like he was live. He was like reading. It says, "Do not show," and they showed it on accident. He ended his stream.
Amazing.
So,
well, there was someone who posted. I guess it would have been around like this time in production. One of the actors took a photo of the total drama. I can't remember what season it was. I apologize, but it was the finale, like the episode 26, and they took a picture of the title page of it and posted it on social media, just saying like recording the last episode. This is crazy, but someone took the photo and just like kept brightening it until they could see some of the words through the title page, and they picked out a character's name. So they knew one of the characters that was going to be in the final 3 before the series had even started. And that's when all the NDAs started happening with,
wow.
Like, you don't post anything, you're not allowed this, but yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
Man.
So it happens. But I had not heard the Tom Holland story. Thank you for that. That's
it's like a viral video on YouTube. So if you want me to send you the video, like you could watch, you're like, oh my, how can you? Or there's this one thing where like, okay, Tom Holland is like known for being like a spoiler in interviews. During an interview, have you seen Endgame or Infinity War? I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay. Yeah. During an interview, he said everyone dies in Infinity War before it came out. It's like, what the heck?
It's funny because if it was, that could mean in general, it's just a violent movie. Like there's so much mayhem in this movie, but in that movie, it's really specific. Like half the people die.
It's like, oh my. Yeah. Imagine he worked on Total Drama. Oh God, Terry. I'm sorry, but he would.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Now, Terry, if you were really on an island, what 3 famous people, dead or alive, would you want on your island?
I'll take to keep things amicable, I want everyone to be friendly. So I'll take George Carlin.
Ooh, okay. A great comedian. Rest in peace.
Great comedian. David Bowie.
Ooh.
And I would take Betty White. I think it would be a really fun time, and everyone would be working together towards common goals, respecting each other. I think it would be good.
I like that island. It's pretty cool.
A lot of cool stories, I'm sure, too. Like great stories from those 3. Yeah.
I like that island. Wow. Pretty cool. Now, is there a role you would love to do in any movie or TV show, like a Western, a superhero? Is there a certain type of role you would love to do for your voice?
Wow. As a voice actor, it would be really fun to do a Western, I think. Like, occasionally you get like a 2-line part where like, oh, we need a cowboy in this scene. Like, and you go, sure, I'll do a cowboy voice, but to get to play one like on a regular basis, yeah, that would be fun. I could see that. Yeah.
How about a role you would love to write? Any role you want to write, like a certain type, like sci-fi, adventure?
Not particularly. I mean, I'd love to write like a super bad or Wedding Crashers type comedy.
Ooh.
Because I mean, I love Total Drama. I love Scaredy Squirrel. I love 16. But my humor, like on stage as a comedian, is a little more crass than that. It's a little more adult, a little more vulgar. So I would love to write a film someday that's more my natural voice, not me holding back. Yeah.
I've seen some of your comedy stuff on YouTube. Like, I think if I remember correctly, you should say like Winnipeg, you're a city, and I love performing in cities. I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The Winnipeg Comedy Festival was fun. Yeah.
You're pretty funny, man. I've seen some of your comedy.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. I still do stand up from time to time. Mostly now, like I'll play the clubs just to kind of stay in shape, even though I haven't since the pandemic started because I haven't needed to. But a lot of my shows now are overseas, entertaining the troops, which is something I love. I love doing that and getting to go to like, weird places like, weird. I just mean places I wouldn't go to on my own dime, like, Kuwait or Bosnia or, like, yeah, I've seen some pretty unique parts of the world doing stand up for the troops. Yeah.
Those are heroes. I'm sorry, when you say the troops, wow, I like that.
Yeah, it's it's not just for me. It's not a financial thing. I love going over there, and I agree with you. Like it's these guys, these men and women are giving up a lot of their time and family time, for something they believe in. So I do love going over and performing for them, and I usually get pretty mushy at the end of the show when I thank them. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Terry. Oh. Now, over the years of your career, do you still keep in touch with co-stars and directors that you have worked with?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm friends with quite a few of them. Megan Fallenbach and I, text each other quite a bit. Her and Stacy DePass and I would go for coffee and stuff. Like we'd hang out. And Merlan Ridley, who directed 16 and a lot of the Total Drama Island stuff, and Snoopy directs me on Snoopy as well. Yeah, she and I have become really good friends. We're quite close, and we'll take our dogs for walks together and stuff. Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
I look up to you, Terry, because I want to become a writer, screenwriter when I grow up, and I look up to you. So,
well, thank you, and good luck. What are you doing to further that goal?
I try to write 20 pages of script a day.
Wow. Are you taking that? Is that from a course you took, or The Artist's Way, or?
I just learned it from some classes, and then I started writing my own scripts. I was like, it seems like, because I love to write and read. Like, you understand, Terry. Like, I love to write cartoon scripts, and like, you should see, like, you're like, oh my God, Joe. Like, if you see this, Terry.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really good. Right on.
And maybe I'll cast you as the lead in a future project. That'd be cool.
Oh, sure. Maybe, he says.
I would cast you. If you're down.
I'm down. Yeah.
Who would you say is the coolest person that you have worked with, Terry?
It depends on what you mean by cool, but I will say that I was opening for doing stand-up as to open a show for Michael Bublé. And at this theater in Toronto, this beautiful theater in Toronto. And I was alone in my dressing room, and I hear this knock on my door, and I open it up, and it's just Michael Bublé standing outside my door. And he goes, "Hey, I hear you're the opening act. I just wanted to say hi." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then he kind of looks around me and sees that there's no one in my dressing room. And he's like, "Are you here by yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, No, come hang out with us. Come hang out with us. So he brought me to his dressing room, and the whole band is in there. And they have this tradition before the shows where they take grapes off their fruit platter that's in their dressing room, and they put a bucket way up, as close to the ceiling as they can, on top of a dresser or whatever. and on the other side of the room, they take turns throwing grapes at the bucket. And if their logic is, or what they say, their superstition, I guess, is if no one lands one in the bucket, it's going to be a bad show. And so Michael says, I was like, what are you guys doing? And he explains this to me. And then Michael says, you're part of the show. Go ahead, throw a grape. And so I pluck a grape off and throw it. And the first shot I get goes in the bucket. And the whole band is like, Terry! And everyone's hugging me. And I was like, this is the coolest night ever.
That is so
Yeah. It was pretty fun. And Michael Bublé, even like we got along pretty well. He went around to the back of the theater to watch me do my stand-up. And I'd written a lot of stuff specifically for that night, like talking about like the crooner era when men were men and chicks were dames. And it was very women friendly, but the setup made it feel like I was going to a dangerous place. But then I turned it around, and the women, his audience is mostly like 80% women. And it was a big hit. Like it went over really well. And Michael Bublé came up to me and was like, you had me so scared at the beginning of that. You had me so scared. He's great. He was great. Yeah.
That is really cool. I'm sorry, but those type of that's why I like also doing these. Besides, because I started these in 2020 to help spread positivity. The pandemic made people down and depressed, Terry. I want to help cheer them up, lift them up. But like stories like that too, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I'm sorry. Oh wow. I'm like blown away with that. Like wow, sorry. That's really cool. Now, what director taught you the most? Is the one you would love to work with? If you haven't worked with it.
I believe I really believe, truly, that you should learn something from every director you work with, because they're approaching it from a different place, which makes you look at it from a different angle. Mm-hmm. So you should learn something from every director you work with. In terms of who I've learned the most from, and this is probably because I've worked with her the most, is Merlan Ridley. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's because her and I have worked together on so many shows, or because we both share similar values and a sense of humor, and have become good friends. But yeah, I'd say I've learned the most from Merlan. Yeah, and she'll, we're at the point now. We're at the point now where if I'm going like, well, I don't understand, how am I supposed to? And she'll just go, just shut up and do it. And then they'll hit record, like it's this, we've got a relationship now where it's just like, come on, get off it. Just do it. Like it's fun. Yeah.
Is there one you would love to work with that you haven't worked with at all yet, Terry?
That I haven't worked with at all. Steph Secchi, who does a lot of voice work as well, but Stephanie Secchi has started directing, and I just got to work with her for the first time. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. I got to play like a ridiculous magician, which was a pretty fun role. But I'd like to work with her more. She's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's really cool. Now, if you were a voice actor, writer, and comedian, what would your career be, and what other interests and hobbies do you have besides all those?
Oh my God. Like not even doing comedy. Like comedy's out of it. Writing out of it. All of that's out of it. Huh. I don't know. Like growing up as a kid, I thought a lot about being in the military. But I'm pretty sure my sense of humor would have kept me at private my entire life. Because I tend not to punch down. I like punching up. So that wouldn't have gone well. Yeah, I really don't know. I didn't really like, oh wait, no, that's not true. I went to college. When I moved to Toronto, it was to go to college for creative advertising. And I did graduate from creative advertising. I did job interviews, got hired, and was then offered to write on a show for YTV, develop a show with YTV, and called the ad agency, which was Pirate Radio, and said, I've gotten a job doing TV. And the guy who I talked to there was like, yeah, you should take that, like, yeah. So I probably would have gone into advertising as a copywriter.
Do you have any hobbies? Any hobbies at all? Or?
I play guitar a lot. Like I play guitar and sing. Hobbies. No, I mean, other than, I play guitar to chill out. I've been running shows since Scaredy Squirrel, so 2009. It doesn't leave a lot of time. I think in between 2009 and now, I've had like the biggest chunk of time I've ever had off was like 5 months, but the rest of it, it's usually like 2 months before I'm in developing something else. And but I also I know you're a hockey fan, but I'm a total like statistics nut when it comes to hockey. Like I am constantly going through past records and figuring out, like, so what's your goals against average for your, like last 3 seasons compared to what about Saturday afternoon games? What's your goals against average? Like I love all of that information. So maybe that's a hobby, or maybe that's something I would have tried to turn into a career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really... Now the next question actually is hot. Okay, now you're following my hockey team. Favorite sports and favorite teams, Terry?
I'd say before I had kids, I watched a lot more sports.
Okay.
I as going through high school, I played rugby and soccer, and continued with rugby like into university and stuff. And I'm not a big guy, but I just loved the sport. So I take a lot of punishment, and my back is feeling it today. But my favorite sport, and the only sport I watch now, because I just don't have time otherwise, is hockey. That's it. I live and breathe hockey. That's my sport. Favorite team? I live in Toronto, but my favorite team is the Ottawa Senators, because that's where I'm from.
The Sens.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to follow my team, Terry? You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, they're a Canadian team. Okay. They've never won a Stanley Cup. Can you guess the team? You know your stats. So.
Wait a minute. They're a Canadian team that's never won a Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Well, Vancouver. That's your favorite team?
Yes.
Huh. Really?
Yes. Yeah, the Vancouver.
You're in Chicago, aren't you?
Yes, but I have a reason why I'm a Canucks fan, if you're curious.
I would love to hear it. That's a strange choice.
You're like, what? Joe, what? That's
They're due. They have never won. They're due.
Okay, when I was 2 or 3 years old, have you ever heard of Marcus Naslund before?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Well, after the practice, he gives me his hockey. Like he asked me, "You want this, buddy?" It was a hockey stick. He gave it to me, and from that day on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair.
And I always get made fun of in Chicago because the Hawks. I hate the Blackhawks, but yeah. Yeah.
Really? Oh, that can't go over well.
Yeah, imagine wearing my Canucks jersey in school. So imagine that one.
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, would Chicago fans even know that team existed?
I know, right?
Yeah. Vancouver. I mean, they've had some really good runs, and the Twins were a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking this year? How are they going to do this year?
I'm hoping good because Kuzmenko, you know who that is, all. I'm hoping he will do really good. That's my goal.
I was really hoping that we have Artem Zub, who just came over to play in Ottawa from Russia. We were hoping that he might talk to Kuz and kind of be like, hey, you should really come to Ottawa. When I heard Vancouver, I was like, okay, all right. Strange, but beautiful city. Have you been to Vancouver?
Oh, I've always wanted to visit Vancouver, Terry. Always wanted to visit.
I hope you get there because it is stunning. It's so beautiful. The West Coast. Oh, yeah.
I'm actually whenever he comes to Chicago, I'm actually like always hang out, but like talk with Bo Horvat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I call him Bo Scorvat, but Bo.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you said you were a Sens fan though.
Yes.
Okay. Can I blow your mind with a picture really quick? I'm gonna blow your mind. With.
Yeah.
Okay. I met him. I think it was in 2018. I want to say. So it's loading. Let me turn down the brightness to see it better. Okay. Do you know who this is?
I'm trying to. Who is that? Is that Chichu? Who is it?
That's Matthew Tkachuk. Not Matthew Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk. Oh my God, Brady Tkachuk.
What? Oh, jeez.
Brady Tkachuk. I'm sorry, I said Matthew. Brady Tkachuk.
Brady Tkachuk. Oh yes, that is Brady Tkachuk. Yeah.
Brady. I met him and I met Shabbat. You know Thomas Shabbat?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. I met those two. They're really nice guys.
Yeah, they both seem really fun. Yeah.
Sorry, I said Matthew. I don't know why. I'm probably thinking his brother, who's now with Florida.
Yeah. Crazy off season for Calgary.
Yeah. I can't believe they traded Hubert. I would, in my opinion, rather kept Huberto with Florida. My opinion. No.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think Calgary is now a better team.
Yeah. And now
Huberto and Weegar. Woo!
And now Goujo is now with Columbus. This whole offseason was nuts, dude.
Yeah, and Monahan is in Montreal. Ha ha.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like I've also interviewed hockey players too, Terry, believe it or not.
Oh, nice.
Do you remember Martin St. Louis? Montreal's coach now.
Yeah.
What's funny, he actually told me during my interview with him that he would never go back to, like, he'd never want to become a coach or anything. And look.
Really? Oh. Have you taken that little snippet of the interview and put it online?
I shouldn't I? I'd be like, hey, this is your coach, Habs.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. If you were really mean, you'd say like, oh, he said he never wanted to coach an NHL team and he's still not. That would be mean.
Oh, man. Or I've interviewed Grant Fear. You know Grant Fear?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Luke Robitaille. Remember him?
Yeah.
Shane Doan.
Shane Doan.
So yeah, I've interviewed I love hockey. Like, you don't understand, Terry. Like that's like a hobby of mine too. I collect hockey and football cards.
Nice.
So
I probably had enough Wayne Gretzky rookie cards to put both of my kids through university, and my mom threw out all my hockey cards after I'd been living in Toronto for a few years, and she was like, I'm clearing out all the junk that you've left here. And I was kind of like, okay. And then I was looking for my hockey cards and they were gone. And I had to have had at least 4 of that Gretzky, that leaning rookie card shot. I can still see them. all. And I'm like, so much money because they were all kept in a box. It was nice. Oh.
Sorry, Terry. I'm sorry. Wow.
It's a little heartbreaking. Yeah, I could have retired early. Yeah.
That's cool. Like, see, finally a fellow hockey fan, because we can relate, because we're big hockey fans,
Yeah.
So
that's
how
cool
do you
interviewed those guys? That's great.
Thank you. Or how do you think your Sens will do? How do you think your Sens will do?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say this year they'll definitely be in the mix for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, they could be, top 3 of the division. But, it's going to depend a lot on goaltending, and our defense still is not great. Okay. So I'm in an interview. Keep it down up there.
Oh, good.
It's fine. We're always on a Zoom call here because my wife is also in the industry. So, yeah.
Who's your favorite Sens player?
My favorite Sens player? Right now, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. He's brand new to the team, but I don't care. Claude Giroux.
Ooh, yeah. I think he'd do really good for you guys. That's my personal. I think he would.
I think so too. He seems like he's got an okay sense of humor, but is very much work first. Like you can joke around if you want, but if we're losing games, I don't want to be laughing, like, and I think you need that with a young team. You need someone who's going to be like, okay, playtime's over. Let's get to work.
Like the lead, he's almost like a leader because he's the oldest one in the group. He's like a leader, mentor too.
Yeah. I think he could be really. I think the team could be really, really outstanding. I do. It's gonna come down to like, can Forsberg do what he did last year?
Yeah.
Not really a starter, so it's gonna be a tough season. Maybe we'll see.
You gonna be really funny. I'm just throwing it out here. If Vancouver faced Ottawa in the Cup, Terry, I'd be like, oh crap.
We'd have to do some sort of like live broadcast with the two of us. I think
that'd be cool. That would be a cool cup. So yeah, man, our two favorite teams.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Awesome. That's really cool. Now, favorite band or artist and type of music?
Well, like I said, I already picked David Bowie as someone that would be on the island. So I really respect him so much as a writer, a musician, an actor. He's as as someone who stands up for what he believes in, like all of his LGBTQ support and like he was really the first one to come out as like, him and Queen were very much the first like femme rock stars. So I have a lot of respect for Bowie. I'd still say my favorite type of music though is like R&B and soul, like Curtis Mayfield and Bill Withers, Aretha Franklin. Like,
wow,
that's the kind of music I listen to when I'm feeling low. I love that stuff. Love it. Yeah.
Wow. I see. My favorite band is Queen. That's my favorite band.
Oh, it's and such a I mean, they're definitely up there too. I mentioned them, like Freddie Mercury was so awesome. Like,
if you want to talk about one of a kind voice, like, oh my god.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah.
So when Bowie and Queen combine, like, for Under Pressure, were you like,
oh yes, yeah, I love that song. And there's that great video, you've probably seen it, the guy with the two Kermit puppets.
oh yeah,
I love that video. Like that, I watched that way too many times when it first came out. I was like, this is so amazing. I love this song and two puppets singing it together.
do you have a favorite Bowie song, out of curiosity?
I do, and it's not a comment. All the Madmen.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, it's certainly not a pick-me-up tune. But I love that song. Like, and it's a really fun one to play on guitar and sing. So I kind of like that too. Yeah.
You should go on tour, Terry. You could sing. Yeah.
It's funny because there's been a few times where I'll be on tour with a fairly popular band or whatever. Like I did Dubai. I played in Dubai for the Canadian Forces with the Trews. I went out with the Trews, and they, so you're doing a show, and then like at one point I was just like, hey, can I borrow one of the acoustic guitars? And the guys will be like, are you gonna smash it? And I'm like, no, I'm a comedian, not an idiot, like. So then I'd go on stage with a guitar and just like make up a song or like play a little song I'd written about, being in the Navy or some jokey song. And all the guys would be like, you can play guitar and sing too? Like, why don't you try to do the whole show? So it's fun to kind of surprise people with that on tour,
You gotta come to Chicago. I would love to see you, Terry. That'd be cool.
I love Chicago too. Oh,
great. Cool. Like, hey, Terry, it's Joe.
Joe. Let's not go to a Blackhawks game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. Favorite movies and TV shows, Terry?
I just finished binge watching Severance.
I think you have reminded
Apple
us.
TV. I think it's an Apple TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, it phenomenal, weird, scary, funny. Like it had everything, and I don't know where they're gonna go with season 2. And it's one of those things where you love a season so much, you're like, please don't ruin it, please don't ruin it, please don't ruin it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I watch like with my kids, I'll watch a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
Which is like they shouldn't be watching it because of the content regarding drugs and sex. But yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine and like Superstore, like those are the kind of our family shows that we'll watch together. And I like that sense of humor. I feel like that's it's not that far off from 16. Like the humor is kind of similar. I think it would, yeah, those are fun shows.
You who you look like too to me, Terry? Okay. Marty McFly, aka Michael J. Fox. Like when he's Marty, you look like him.
The glasses. Am I wearing my McFly glasses?
Oh my God, you look like him! Holy smokes! You did that. Holy smokes! Terry.
Yeah, all through high school, all I ever heard was Michael J. Fox.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like Michael J. Fox. He's a great actor. So.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. And I just saw a clip on YouTube of him getting reunited. Yeah. Yeah. Him just coming out on stage. I mean, he's looking a little rougher around the edges for sure, but it made me wonder what other fantastic films and characters he would have brought. Yeah, I love Michael J. Fox. I was a little sick of him in high school just because everyone was like, "You're like Michael J. Fox, you're Michael J. Fox." But yeah, still love him. Spin City was great too. Like,
can you say, like, if you don't mind, for me, just because this is so cool, can you take off your glasses and say "Da" in your Marty McFly voice? I'm sorry, if you could, Terry. Sorry.
Say what, Doc?
Doc.
I don't really have a Michael J. Fox voice. I can't really like Doc. Like it's
you. I'm sorry, Terry.
Yeah. Get used to those bars. Yeah.
Sorry, Terry, but I'm sorry, but that's what you look like to me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's fair. My entire life I've heard it. So yeah.
I'm sorry if you think that was mean me saying that. But...
No. I'm very used to it. Yeah. Wow. I was like, I had one of my, like, all my friends have always been like, "Oh, Michael J. Fox, he looks like Michael J. Fox." And like one friend said, like, "He looks like Tom Cruise," and everyone was like, "You need glasses." It's Michael J. Fox. So yeah, we'll go with Michael J. Fox.
He'd be cool to meet though. I love to meet Michael. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah, I would think so too. Yeah.
Now, favorite food.
Favorite food. Good Lord. I mean, you can't beat a diner breakfast, in my opinion. Eggs over easy, bacon, toast, like, hash browns. That's hard to beat. Sushi is probably, like, if I'm going out, it'll be sushi. I like sushi.
Is there a food you can't stand, like you can't eat this? Like you're like, "Oh, get that food away from me"? Or...
Not really. No. What's that Mexican place in Chicago? It starts with an F, doesn't it?
That's probably not there anymore. I don't think.
Oh no, it's there. It's there. Because a friend of mine was just there, and they'd gone to that restaurant. And I was like, "Oh my God, I love that place so much." But yeah. Anyway, no, there's no food. There's no food that repulses me. No.
See, for me, it's pickles. I hate pickles. Terry.
Oh well, that's a pretty specific thing. It's not a genre of food. I don't eat pickles either. Pickles are for fools.
Pickles are just. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my kids love them, and I can't eat them either. No.
Now, what advice would you give younger people who want to become a comedian, voice actor, writer? What's your advice?
Well, for writing, it would be what you're doing. Like, get up and write every day. Like, you're going to learn by doing it. For voice acting, it, and stand up, it would be the same thing. Like, you leave your cool at the door. Like, you need to be willing to look like an idiot. Especially in voice acting, because like knowing what the animators are trying to do, the acting has to be a little bit bigger. It has to be broader and more extreme. And a lot of people have trouble doing that because they don't want to look foolish or sound stupid or whatever it is. But if you don't, then the animator's like, well, what am I drawing? This character sounds like they're standing still. I don't hear a lot of facial expressions. And if you draw big movements and facial expressions when the voice is flat and level, it looks weird. Like, it's obviously not going to work. So yeah, I would say, like, if you're too cool for school, this is not the job for you. You've got to be willing to look really ridiculous, Yeah.
I like to always add stay humble. Remember you came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Save your cool for the party.
Now, Terry, would you be willing to come back on for part 2, answer some fan submitted questions?
After the show has aired?
And up to you, whenever you're available.
I think after the show has aired, I would. I think before I couldn't, because I'd get myself in trouble. I know I would pull up like, everybody dies in this movie,
Yeah, Tom Holland.
That's right. I'm not pulling a Tom Holland. No way.
Because I mean, that's actually a good idea, because I'm sure a lot of people probably say, ask him this, like, you can't talk if it's regarding the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is that was the first thing I said to your brother when he reached out to me. I said, I can't talk about the season at all. Like,
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I hope the questions that I asked about wasn't bad for you. Like, Mara, I was telling you which one. I was like, hey, what's this guy's name?
And I would be like, oh, I want to tell you. Yeah. No, this was great. This was absolutely great.
Do you have any questions, Terry?
Do I have any questions? Who is your favorite hockey player that you've interviewed?
That I've interviewed?
Yeah. And I mean, like the interview itself, like, who did you go like, wow, he was really awesome,
Okay. Probably. Okay, so Grant Fuhr, like I told you?
Yeah.
That was a phone, because I actually, believe it or not, co-hosted that one with my friend that was in the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, no way.
You remember Kenny Wu in the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
Well, I surprised him with that one because his favorite player of all time is Grant Fuhr. So I was like, I sent him the Skype link and he didn't even know, and he was crying, and I love that experience. Like, it's so cool, Terry.
That's amazing. Good job.
Terry, is there anything you would like to promote and shout out? Like, I'll link down below in the video's description.
Oh, I don't have. I mean, I've been in the thick of this for over a year now, writing this show. So that's all I've got to promote right now is this show. And I guess, Snoopy on Apple TV as well. The Snoopy show is still on Apple TV. And they keep releasing new episodes. So, yeah.
Would you have me link down your social medias? I'll follow you, for people to follow you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm what am I? Stand Up Monkey.
Yeah.
Stand Up Monkey. I'm on Twitter. Yeah, my Instagram is really just it's my name, but it's just 8 million pictures of my dog. So if you don't like my dog, don't follow me on Instagram. Yeah.
I'll say follow Terry here on Twitter, and then the link. Follow Terry on Instagram here in the link. So I'll do those both for you. Gotcha.
Cool.
Well, thank you, and Terry, for being an awesome, amazing guest. I had an amazing time chatting to you. You're very funny, so thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And I look forward to coming back after the season's over and chatting more in detail.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome. And you stay awesome, Terry. Thank you.
You too, Joe.